They told me not to smoke drugs, but I wouldn't listen. Never thought I'd get caught and wind up in prison. Chalk it up to youth, but young age I ain't dissing. I guess I just had to get it out of my system. Out of my system. Out of my system.
Uncarcerated is the show, a platform formerly and sometimes still incarcerated people and systems impacted people. Typically we have a guest, but every once in a while we just tackle a topic between the four of us because all four of us have been incarcerated and currently work with systems impacted people. So today we're going to talk about Post-Incarceration Syndrome, PICS, which is not in the DSM-5. It is not in the official mental health guide that psychologists and psychiatrists use. And I think that's pretty telling. I think it's pretty telling that people recognize post-incarceration syndrome just like PTSD, but it hasn't made its way into the official book that therapists use. Why is that? Are we slighted at every turn?
I remember it was hard to find somebody that, like, looking for a therapist years after coming home when things had gotten too much, and it was hard to find somebody that really knew what that world was all about. Like, there was nobody that like had studied that or had a background in that, because it's not really a part of the common, I don't know, therapeutic community. It was hard to find somebody to talk to. It took a long time to find anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to find anybody that has like gone through what we've gone through. It's difficult to talk about being in jail, being in prison.
Can I say something though?
Yeah, that's what you're here for.
You say it's hard to find people who's gone through the things that we've gone through. The thing about it is, though, there's millions of people who've gone through what we've gone through, right? But the professional field won't allow those people to be in those positions to actually be peer support people. So that's why people like me and you are very important, because there's actually a lot of people out here who know our experience.
I'm glad you brought that up. I want to talk about that. Kelly and I have talked about this a lot. I'm going to take a quick detour from post-incarceration syndrome to actually being able to turn around and do the work. There's a blog up on our Substack. We just talked about this. The state of Florida has put in like really stringent level 2 background checks that prevent people from going to jail, going to prison, going to rehab, being homeless, all of those things, and then turning around and doing the work. I mean, it's enough to go through all those things, but then you come home, you get your life back, you work so hard just to get to a level of stability, and then you decide, I want to turn around and be that person that I needed for somebody else. And the state of Florida has just made it unbelievably impossible. I'm not going to get into the weeds of like the different types of software and professions that require the level 2 backgrounds, but needless to say, nonprofits and agencies that work reentry spaces, homeless spaces, have made it impossible for us to do the work. And so to Julius's point, it's becoming rarer and rarer that you go through this stuff and you're working with somebody who's been through what you've been through. And Kelly, you had an experience recently where you couldn't even be a chaperone for your kids. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can't be a chaperone for my kids on their elementary school field trips. This journey started when my son was in 2nd grade. He's going into 5th, but I was still on probation when he was in 2nd grade. And when I applied to be a chaperone, they told me back then that I can't be a chaperone now, but when I'm off probation, I can be. And so I waited a couple years, got off probation, and applied kind of recently, like in the last year, and was denied and banned pretty much like forever is what they say.
Yeah, so the new level 2 background checks, I think, were meant to weed out specific types of like fraud so that people wouldn't be stealing people's identity if you're working with vulnerable populations. But basically, it's scorched earth. It's anybody with a background. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about sort of like what still comes up for you. The definition that we do have, it's not in the DSM-5, but the definition of post-incarceration syndrome, several distinct psychological issues often presenting like PTSD, institutionalized personality traits, hypervigilance, emotional flattening, suppression of vulnerability, mistrust of others, rigid time structures, institutional structure, post-traumatic stress symptoms, constant threat of violence, lack of privacy, sensory deprivation, chronic stress, which obviously leads to chronic health issues, chronic pain, relationship issues.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, lots of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's intense. That should I mean, it's legit. I've been home for 10 years, and that still comes up in weird, subtle ways. I mean, it was more pronounced in the beginning, but I don't think it ever, like, just, like, vanishes. It was, like, a traumatic experience that will, in some ways, ripple forever. The like, immediate, like, obvious things coming home were, like, going to, and this, I've heard a lot of people say this, like, the first time going into a store, like a grocery store, just, like, the abundance. Like, I mean, I've been, like, fucking starving for years. And then going in there and be like, there's just food as far as the eye can see. There had only been, like, I don't know, a handful of colors and shapes and smells in prison, and just being in this, like, overwhelming, it's so bright, there's so many colors, just people just walking freely everywhere. It's overwhelming, just navigating what seems like a mundane thing. It's like, I'm going to the grocery store. Like, at the time, especially, it was, like, really fucking hard. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, my second day home, I went to Target, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I had a full panic attack in Target because there was people moving around. I hadn't seen people moving, not in a straight line. And I didn't have self-awareness about what was happening, you know? I just knew that I didn't feel right being there. I didn't feel like I could have been walking around. I needed someone to tell me to walk in a straight line. I forgot what size clothes I wore. I hadn't picked out sizes. It was just too many choices, too much stimulation. So that was the second day home. But yeah, stuff still comes up for me. And really, it depends on how I'm feeling. There's times that I like being in a crowd. I like going to see a band. I like going to see live music. And there's other times that it's way too much, you know, and I want to be alone. Eating is another big one for me. I don't like group dinners. I do not want to have a conversation while I'm eating. And that's a problem in my relationship, you know? My wife wants to sit down and have dinner and have a back and forth and have a conversation.
And you eat real fast?
I eat real fast.
You knock twice on the table when you're done?
Yep, knock twice on the table. But I don't want to talk. It's great that she can talk to me and I'll listen, but I am not responding. I'm not talking back. I will talk when this food is done.
And how we shut you up and just give you some food?
Give me some food. Yeah, that's right.
Man, I wasn't really free when I got out. I was on house arrest. It just has me thinking of what you guys were describing, like getting out and having all these options, and that is for sure overwhelming. I just, like, didn't go through that in particular because when I got out, I had to, like, fill out these pieces of paper. You guys know community control / house arrest. It's like community control, but with no ankle monitor is what I was on. And I had to, like, fill out this piece of paper. Piece of paper had every day of the week and 24-hour slots for each day. And I had to say where I was going to be each hour, whether I was at home or if I was, like, I had to get a week advance permission to, like, go to the grocery store, or, like, a week in advance, because I would go there once a week and submit this paper, and it would either get approved or denied if I, like, asked to do special things. I remember, like, months and months after being on house arrest, I got a car and was asking, like, permission, can I start driving my kid to school? And, like, I just had this, like, very different experience being released on house arrest. It was, like, super weird, just, like, restrictions and poverty, but, like, also I have to work, but also I don't have a car, and it's where I'm living is rural, and, like, I don't know, it was just insane. I haven't thought about it in a while.
Yeah, it really snatches your, like, joy away that you're gonna come home and be free and be out in the world and get to see your loved ones, you know, all the things that you were deprived of. And then you're on community control or probation, or it, like, really snatches away your ability to feel relieved or feel happy or feel joy. And, you know, that's not something you can quantify, but it's there.
Okay, that's the perfect segue to my experience, right? For me, being incarcerated, I would, like, miss and value a lot about freedom. I can remember being incarcerated thinking, like, wow, I haven't been outside at nighttime in months. And I miss just going to the refrigerator. I miss using the bathroom in privacy. All the simple things that I miss, right? But then when I got out, it's like that joy was short-lived because I was reminded that freedom ain't free. I'd be free and still not go outside at nighttime. I'd be in the house stressing about finding a job, stressing about needing clothes, stressing about needing to find somewhere to stay at because I'm on my sister's sofa. It's this thing about people. We want the most, whatever isn't present. So whenever you're incarcerated, what you want the most is just freedom. I just want to be out of here. But then once you get freedom, you're reminded all the responsibilities that come with freedom. And then if you did any amount of time over 30 days, it's a high possibility that you lost everything. You know, every time I ever came home, with the exception of the last few times, I came home to nothing. No clothes, job, no cell phone, none of that stuff. And I had very little financial support. And then too, it's like coming home and being needed again, being needed when I still need something, and I got people that needed me immediately, you know, that want time with me, and I didn't even have time to really, I never got out and had time to just enjoy my freedom, just like to sit and just say peacefully enjoy the night sky, peacefully enjoy just being home. It was really short-lived. If I did, it was only like a week or so. Before I got to feeling that, I got to start figuring things out. I don't got time to just sit at the park. I don't got time to work out. I don't got time to read no more. I don't have all the things that I was able to do when I was taken from the world, right? I could just focus on me. I could just focus on me for those moments and really be in tune with myself. But when I got out, I had to plug back into the world immediately. Almost. So that's something still to this day, right? I struggle with. Like, I don't have the freedom, even though I'm free. I'm still working hard to create more free time. You see, I'm saying I'm free as fuck, but free time is hard to come by because I'm plugged into the system, trying to make it. Trying to achieve these goals and dreams that I have for myself and for my children. Trying to maintain a quality of life and living despite any kind of background and history that I may have, and still, you know, having to find energy to be the positive person that I need to be for myself and that I need to be to connect with other people positively. It's just the system itself, because even before I ever was incarcerated for anything that I ever got incarcerated for, I was emotionally in bondage. I was financially in bondage, to the point where none of those things that I value when I was incarcerated even existed. I'd be outside walking, but totally living in my mind, totally living either in the past, thinking about the crazy shit that happened yesterday, or in the future, thinking about some due date that's coming that I'm not prepared for. And I could never be present in the moment and just enjoy the freedom that I actually had. So that's still something to this day that I'm balancing out, because sometimes I can feel weighed down or in bondage to responsibilities when I just want to go to sleep right now. But I need to be up. I need to be up, and I can't just be up. I have to be up doing something. This thing about life and living, it's this idea of, you know, just freedom. We have this idea of just wanting to enjoy life, but we all have to work. We all have to, you know, figure things out. And I think that's one of the things I'm still struggling with, or still trying to figure out, like, how to do enough so I can have more free time and enjoy my freedom.
Yeah, I think what you're describing is pretty universal, and I think going to jail or prison just like turns the knobs up on that. But that feeling of deficit, that feeling that I've had my whole life, that I'm not enough, I'm not enough in the world, I'm not enough to my family, I don't make enough money, you know, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough degrees. It's this just constant deficit led to jail and prison. Since I've come home, it's been nothing but catching up to my friends who didn't have that experience, who did go to college, who have bought their first house. I'm looking at them like they had a lot more support from their families. They had a lot more financial support, and they did not have this period of interruption and that feeling that I always have to prove myself to the room that I'm in, of people who have more degrees, have a better job. It's that just constant feeling of not enough, that constant deficit that I'm trying to fill with work and doing. And also, the thing that I get praised for often is that I do a lot, is that I work hard, is that I show up for people. Well, that makes it impossible to turn it off. If that's what I'm being rewarded for all the time, you know, if that's how people see me,
You get the treat.
then I get the treat every time. Well, what happens when I say no? What happens when I say I am going to take a nap? I am going to take 3 days off? Then what am I?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a worker anymore.
What does happen?
I've experienced the most growth, though, in times when I just said no, in times when I went against the grain, in times when life was pushing me hard to conform to the system, and I just said, fuck it. I just let go. In those moments, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about, I learned that, you know, people will still be here, opportunities to still be here, not advocating for just saying, fuck it. But in times when I let go of that internal voice that was pushing me to people please and to show up 100% at all times and sacrifice my internal peace, these 10 minutes of conversation. But now I've learned how to just prioritize myself and to stay present in the moment and to be appreciative. There's always something for me to appreciate in the present moment. And I try to, like, you know, think about the things that I think about. Think about what I'm thinking about. I've heard somebody say that the mind is an amazing servant but a terrible master. I'll make it a point to myself to just be present in the moment, identify what I'm feeling, Don't let feelings go unchecked. Name the feelings and tame it. Like even just sitting here, I was writing some I am affirmations. I wrote revolutionary at the top of the paper, and then I put I am great, I am taken care of, I am prepared, I am wealth. You know, just little stuff like that has helped me tremendously throughout the years, and still something that I use today.
Kevin, I'm interested to hear from you, since you meditate and you seem to have a healthy spiritual life.
He can't relate to any of this, actually. He's better than all of us.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
You say that's true. That's true.
I mean, out of the four of us, you probably actively cultivate your spiritual life with meditation, and you've gone to retreats. Like, I've heard you tell this story before of finding meditation in prison and wanting to leave the room. You couldn't go outside, so you were like, I just want to go where I'm not. And that was a big aha moment for you. Can you talk about that, sort of what I was describing with the feeling of deficit and kind of what you do to combat that?
I think like you were saying, I think I carried that my whole life on some level, feeling of like I don't know, like I'm missing something. There's something that I don't have that everyone else seems to have, and I am uniquely, I don't know, absent this essential piece or something like that. And I always felt like inferior, outside something. And then that moment in prison, especially because prison is such a pressure cooker for all of your life. Everything, there's nowhere to hide at a certain point in there. In meditation especially, there's truly nowhere to hide. And it was very uncomfortable, and my feeling of like, I just want to go where I am not, kind of catching that concept. And I was like, oh, that's been my project for as long as I can remember, is like me trying to escape myself, me trying to escape reality, all these things. So we had this discussion this week at work, like prison, horrific, should not be, but the time gave me the opportunity to spend time sort of fearlessly burning up all of that stuff, all of those ideas of I'm not enough, there's something wrong with me, or fear of failure, fear of success, all of those things that were in the mix. And so I think when I came home with this idea, like the sort of like burning sensation of like, I want to be a positive force in the world, I want to do good for my community, I want to live up to my potential. I felt like I had sort of exhausted a lot of that that project of like hiding myself. I felt like I was finally like, I had revealed myself to myself, and I came home and I was ready to sort of like step into that, and I was like really excited to be home. I told everybody I just came out of prison. My mom was like, you got to stop telling everybody that. Like the cashier at the fucking convenience store was like, I just came out of prison. And my mom was like, yeah, that's not landing like you think it's landing.
Let's not lead with this all the time, if we can help it.
I was so excited. I was so stoked to be home. And then like the post-incarceration syndrome stuff kicked in pretty quick, honestly, of like going to the store, feeling like there's no opportunities for me after all. Like my fire was like I felt like it was like many steps backwards or something like that. And it took a long time to finally like, I don't know, go talk to somebody and be like, man, I feel fucking terrible. I feel like fucking dying. Like I've been out of prison for several years and I feel like killing myself. It was hard to like acknowledge just how miserable I was and how ate up, because I came home on fire and the whole world told me to fucking stuff it. Basically, like there was no place for that fire to go, and so it kind of consumed me for a while. But anyway, so my meditation practice definitely has been an anchor point for me over the years. Something I come back to regularly. It's a place where I can kind of remind myself that like I am okay. Like I kind of touch base with like my true self in those moments. It still creeps in every now and again though, that like feeling of like, I mean, people in recovery, people with like addiction histories, like that's a really common thing of like, I'm missing something, I'm lacking, and so we look outside of ourselves to fill that, to find something to fill that space, whether that's like drugs or food or sex or gambling or whatever it may be. We look for something to fill this like perceived space within us. It feels smaller and smaller all the time, but that still shows up every now and again. Sure.
Yeah, I think it's like really understandable that if you had trauma going into incarceration, being in a cage is traumatic. You come home feeling like not enough, then you don't have enough money. If you're lucky enough to get a job and find someone to rent you a place, the place isn't very nice, your job isn't very nice, you don't make enough. That feeling of not enough is just constant. And so, you know, you all have, Julius and Kevin have, and I think all of us to a certain degree have looked to fill that not enough void with spirituality, with self-awareness, with growth, and then with the careers that we have that do build us up, like getting to see someone else have success, getting to see someone else get a job, get housed, get awarded just income, go through the fellowship at Community Spring. Like we have looked to fill that hole in the healthiest way possible, but I think it's understandable that people don't always have that. They don't always have the career, they don't have supportive relationships,
they don't find the way to fill the void,
right? And so, you know, they are filling that void with drugs, alcohol, shitty relationships, and also the security blanket of, like, I'm just going to go back to the thing that I do know, you know? Like, I watch my son go through this, like, constant taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, because when he takes a couple steps forward, he still doesn't see the big rewards, you know? He takes a couple steps forward to stability, but he still is working at the back of a restaurant. That doesn't make him feel good about himself. He's not in college, so he's not feeding his mind or his brain or his long-term goals. And he sees people around him that are having that success, which constantly is running through his head. Oh, you know, this kid I went to high school with is now playing college football, and this person has bought their first house, and this. So it's constant. You're not enough. You're not enough. Yeah. Society telling you you're not enough.
It grinds you down.
And so, and so he goes back to what makes him comfortable or makes him feel like he is enough. Where, like, oh, I can hustle or I can use drugs and alcohol. Like, that is either going to numb it or it's going to make me feel enough. You know?
I know how to be queen of the trap.
I say that all the time. Like, he's not going to be valedictorian, but he'll be, you know, king of the trailer park, right? And so, and I think that holds true for a lot of the folks that we care about, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I know you guys got me thinking so much about the deficit thing. And I remember, like, when I was literally a little girl, like 12, and I discovered drugs, and like the very first time I ever got high, it was on weed, and it changed how I felt. And I remember so clearly thinking, like, I've discovered what I need. I've discovered the answer.
Hell yeah.
I didn't really know at the time that I was, like, searching for something, but when I got high, I was like, holy shit. And I was, like, obsessed with it from that point forward. And then, like, the drugs evolved, and with that, the company around you evolves, and things just kind of get darker and worse over time. But, like, to me, it was like I figured it out. And then, too, having that, like, the feeling of the deficit, and then slowly being in situations and experiences over time that make you feel like shit about yourself. And then being, like, the pregnant girl in jail. Like, I'm very self-aware, and I'm also human. And I think that there would have been a time in the past that I would have judged, you know, a pregnant woman in jail, moms that are drug addicts, and then experiencing, like, my entire second pregnancy in jail. And I'm, like, the only pregnant girl in the pod, and I'm the longer term stay there because I watched the pod turn over, like, twice because of the length of time I was there. It's so defeating. And it's like my situation informed me, or, like, my situation informed that part of me that feels like shit about myself or tells me that I'm shitty, was, like, very reinforced by my situation, you know?
Yeah.
And when I got out, I can't explain it. I can't explain why or what happened, but I've been so focused on being not that, like Julius was talking earlier, I think about, like, being present or thinking about the past or the future. I never hardly ever dwell on the past. I mean, the past still affects me internally, but, like, the front of my mind doesn't dwell on the past. I'm hardly in the present, like, ever, because I am now filling that void with like an obsession with accomplishments and goals.
Yeah.
The way I save money is like with a panic. The way that I look at houses that I cannot get yet is with a panic. Like, I haven't thought about it this in depth till this conversation, but like, I'm totally doing that to get by. That's why I'm clean right now. I've just like, I'm not saying it has to be so negative. Maybe I'm making it sound so bad, but I'm just like very clearly seeing that like my obsessive focus on attaining some more material things and continuing to like move up in the world and maybe like increase income, I like think I'm gonna get somewhere and have finally made it or something. You
Right.
know, and
And-
I'm not in the present hardly. Like sometimes with my kids and in moments at the Springs, of course, a little bit, but kind of mostly not.
Yeah, and then you find out that a lot of that is an illusion too. You know, that you're not gonna all of a sudden get the things that you wanted and be okay. I just read an article the other day that you have a less than 0.01% chance to ever make it out of the wealth class that you were born into. Less than 0.01% chance. Whatever. That's crazy. And yet
And I quit.
And this was like a well-studied New York Times, like years-long study. And I read this article and I was just like, oh my God, like we have this idea in our mind that like it is gonna get substantially better if I do all these things right. Really not. I'm seeing 75-year-old people bag groceries and deliver my food, and
Yeah, that's tough.
you know,
That's always tough when I see that. When I see like an older person still in the workforce, like working a minimum wage job, I just think about life in society. Like, how can it come to this? You know, being at Grace or working at Grace and seeing like a wide variety of people, all races, all ages, suffering from the same thing that humans suffer from, trauma, and you know, it's just unfortunate, bro. It's just crazy to see.
and it doesn't have to be that way. You know, there is enough for us to all be okay.
For sure.
All right, everybody, thoroughly depressed. Sounds good.
Thoroughly depressed, yeah.
This was a heavy episode.
I remember coming home and being like, well, okay, like I'm I guess just sort of like burying maybe a lot of like the feelings that I was having at the time, and this is maybe sort of jumping around a little bit, but like just thinking about the sort of endless haunting of incarceration. Somebody came up and gave me a hug. I was washing dishes in my apartment. Somebody came up behind me and gave me like a hug from a place of love, and I fucking jumped out of my fucking skin because I did not like the unexpected human touch or somebody coming up from fucking behind me. It was a glaring moment for me. It was
Yeah.
like, I cannot even accept an affectionate touch from somebody without like it like hitting some sort of button within me of like that sort of hypervigilance that you have to have while you're incarcerated, like sort of like always looking for the next thing. Like I had that washing dishes in my my little nest in my apartment. I was like, oh fuck, this is worse than I thought.
Yeah, the hypervigilance, I do want to touch on that. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. I already have this idea because of the deaths that I've experienced in my life that like, okay, it's good for right now. Like this is the longest stretch of my life where nothing chaotic or death related has happened, and I have started to grow that muscle of like, I'm okay, I own a house, I'm in a stable relationship, I have good friends and good community, but there is that nagging piece of my mind that's like, it's all gonna get snatched away. I'm gonna be flipping burgers, you know, living in a motel room, like it like all of, you know, Abigail's gonna die. Like it is there, and in my mind I have to actively like push it out of my mind. So I want to talk about that hypervigilance and like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And does it come up for y'all?
Definitely.
Yes, for sure. That hypervigilance portion, I had that even before incarceration, just growing up in the areas I grew up in, subscribing to the lifestyle that I subscribed to. I had that, but especially after coming home from prison, I can remember being in the store, right, standing behind a guy in line, and he was reaching in his pocket, and I tensed up like, man, what the fuck you finna pull out? I had to tell myself, he's probably pulling out his wallet. He's standing at the, you know, there's little stuff like that. Being asked, going to walk outside and someone asked me, where are you about to go? It used to piss me off so much bad because I always respond like, I'm free, I'm going where I want to go. Don't ask me no shit like that. If you want to know, if you want to know where I'm going, come with me. And even still to this day, I don't like sharing my bathroom space. you know, my fiance wants to shower with me sometimes, and it's like, no, I'm free. We shower alone. This is my this is my sacred space.
I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that says "We shower alone."
Go through so much hypervigilance. Like I don't wait on another shoe to drop. I do everything I can before any shoe could ever drop, or at least tell myself that I am.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting. I've talked about this before, I think in staff meeting at Community Spring, where like in one room I can be, and I do this with, it's like I don't have a choice but to do this, but I'll be thinking like, what this person said might make Julius have feelings, and I wonder if Kevin thinks it's weird, and how is Lindsay taking this, and maybe if I say this it'll bring the room down. Like, it is exhausting to like sometimes be in this hypervigilant brain, which is usually focused on like the feelings and thoughts of other people,
Like not having conflict.
The feelings and thoughts of other people. I think like just recently, this is like very new, and it's just a tiny baby step. I've like just taken a tiny step in the direction of like choosing to be me and be a good person, even if it means what I say or do is going to make someone not like me, which is very new for me, because in order to survive, everyone needs to like me or love me, or else they might reject me or they might die. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's like very, very new, and it's coming with self-esteem that I didn't have before. Very, very new. That like there's a part of me that's like, stay true to you, even if that makes so-and-so standing on the porch hate you. Very, very new. This is very new territory for me.
That's been kind of like my motto from the beginning, to stay authentically me while still achieving success, because I wanted to show people from my community that success doesn't have a certain look to it, that intelligence doesn't have a certain look to it. You can still be successful and intelligent and still be you in any room. But lately though, right, I've been feeling this pressure to conform. I feel it does something to me emotionally whenever I show up in a space and I don't be authentically myself. Like, I walk away from that space, like replaying what happened, visualizing myself in that moment, questioning some of my expressions. And I have to, after moments like that, I sit with myself and I reaffirm to myself that I made it here by being authentically myself. Julius being Julius is what got me here, and that's what will take me through to the finish line. I was born an original. I don't want to die like a copy of somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I want to be original the whole way through. So I've been desiring lately to just carve out some free time, especially now that I'm in a successful, healthy relationship. I'm always like engaged. So somebody's always engaging me, at work, through social media, when I get off. So just trying to find some free time for myself to connect with myself, to reaffirm and plant who I am in this moment, who I always will be, is something that's been helping me a lot lately. And I just want to put that out there. And also, I wanted to mention before, while it's on my mind, right, this idea of normalizing trauma. Like going through trauma, not having nobody to talk to, and then you normalize the experiences, right? And then when somebody asks you what's wrong, you don't really know what to tell them, because what's wrong to me is like what's out of the norm. You see what I'm saying? But I've already normalized these things, so I don't even know how to tell you or what to tell you. So it's like
the baseline.
So a lot of people, including myself in the past, but not now, I'm thankful that I'm in a lot better space than what I've ever been in my life. I'm experiencing a lot of success and stability, and even still that comes with some trauma, not wanting to lose this success and stability. Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned too, the thoughts of, what if I have to go back to working a regular job? Sometimes I think about that thought with peace. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that thought, like
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Just like being regular again.
That's fine.
Just not being a leader, not having all this stuff. And every time I mention that to other people in this same line of work, they've had those same thoughts and feelings. I said it to my sister recently, and she was like, bro, come on, man. I was just thinking that shit, but we got to press forward.
we got to push forward.
We got to keep doing this.
If I have like 3 public speaking things coming up, 2 fellows, I'm backed up on my to-do list, and then I'm in a one-to-one with Lindsay, who's giving me 17 more things to do. I've had that thought before too, where I'm like, could be waking up and like, I don't know.
Bartending.
Going to serve some drinks to some people.
I feel like the older I get, maybe it's like age, and no doubt like self-work and like confidence and stuff, like I just don't give a fuck. I care less about shit all the time.
That's super cool.
I love saying no to shit, and people are like, hey, we're doing this thing, like, no.
You're like, no.
No.
I feel like
Like,
to
it's easier. It becomes easier to like just sort of, I don't know, feel at ease and at peace in my life. And if it's like if all of this fell apart tomorrow, like, all right,
okay,
I mean,
I feel you on that.
that's fine. Whatever.
I feel like one thing I want to work on, and I've been thinking about this for over a year, like turning my internal intensity knob down, because I'll have the same level of intensity to go sit on a panel that I will for an email that is not even urgent, but I need it to sound good because I want to look professional. You know, like when I was being hired to oversee the fellowship, I was like building this curriculum and I'm doing like really cool work, and every step of the way and every single week of the 34-week fellowship, I wanted it to be like the best of the best. And I think I called Lindsay and I was like asking about this particular thing and her thoughts, and she was like, this all sounds great. I think you should turn the intensity down on the whole thing. And it like really stuck with me. That was like over a year ago now, and I haven't successfully turned the intensity down most of the time.
But it's on the radar.
But it's on the radar, and like a little bit. I would say a little bit. You know, it's like the amount of internal pressure that I feel, and like the level of intensity I'll put around like a project or a task, because it's important to me, and like the work we do, we love the work we do, and it's important. And I think that's what I sometimes want relief from, and that I wouldn't have if I worked at like as a server or something, would be like in the moment intensity, but like change making isn't on my shoulders.
Yeah, can I'm going to be the odd person out here because I love all three of your choices for yourself, and that Zen level. Saying no to something is saying yes to yourself, but I want to push back just a little bit. I have been recently, just in the last like week or so, in shared spaces with people who work on homelessness, mental health, substance use, incarceration. And I looked around the room, and there wasn't one impacted person in those rooms. There wasn't one person who answers an email within 2 weeks. There was nobody that worked with any level of sense of urgency. They got to it when they got to it. I'm leaving at 4:30. I'm practicing self-care. And so for all those hundreds of people, I am not going to turn down the intensity. I'm not going to say no to things. I'm going to keep showing up, because if impacted people don't show up with intensity, our space is going to be filled by a lazy person who has their master's degree.
Facts.
But,
Facts.
but is the intensity impactful? Though?
Facts, bro.
I'm intense, but am I actually doing anything?
Can I still do the
the four
work
of us are. Yeah.
Can I still do the work
Yeah.
with urgency, but like what is the cost? Is it sustainable for me to be at a level 10 for every task? For me, it's not.
No, look
But
at Julius and I. We both have injuries. Like, we're fucked up right now. No, it's not good for us.
My urgency what I'm talking about too, by the way, Leigh, if this makes you feel any better, you're not alone. That is never going to go away completely from me. That is like embedded in me, I think most likely for life.
It's our superpower.
You know, it's what makes us like really, really good.
Especially when you learn to manage it, where it's not destructive to you and not draining you, and you learn how to
that's the key.
Have some relief. It's actually our superpower, and what you described is called intuitive empathy. It's like a high level of empathy, being able to feel somebody else's feelings on a very deep level, to the point where you can speak to the unspoken or do the extra that they don't even know to ask you to do. And I think that thing that you have, it really fuels your work and makes you the great person that you are. You know, like, you're a one of one creation. I've never bumped to anybody in this line of work like you. I don't think I ever will. Everybody at this table is like one of one creations. Authentic, original people, full of fire, that does this work from the kindness of your heart. You're so filled with emotion, you really feel other people's feelings. Anytime somebody telling a heart-wrenching story, we can count on you to cry.
Yeah, you can count on me to cry. I'll be the crier in the room.
And that's something that's not present in some of the most important fields inside of this system that we currently live in. Every time I go to the hospital, if there was a Kelly working there at the hospital greeting me when I'm coming in there, I would have felt so much better with what happened. You know what I'm saying? If there was a Leigh there, I would have felt so much better. The time I went to Meridian, if there was a Kelly or a Kevin there, Kevin would have made me laugh at some of the hardest situations. You said it's been times where I was down as fuck, and just seeing this little applehead motherfucker at work it really cut through all of that, you know. And I just appreciate knowing all of y'all. And like, I've never bumped into anybody in this line of work with as much passion and fire for the work that I've seen in all three of you.
Thanks.
Like that's facts. That's
I
facts.
want to wrap the show on that note. Can we? I think there's such a good mix on, and this is why I wanted the three of you to do this podcast with me, because I think all of us come at the work with different levels of intensity, different ideas, different humor, different ability to like cry, the ability to set boundaries. Like, we all are such a good balance and mix of how this work is supposed to be done. And I think that comes through on the show as well. But what is one thing, and you don't have to do it for all four people in the room, but what is one thing you can look at Leigh, Julius, Kevin, Kelly, and say, I wish I had a little bit more of that in me?
From what, like,
You can just pick anybody in the room, or pick everyone in the room, whatever you want.
Cool. I'm gonna go with Leigh, and I'm gonna go with Kelly. I'm gonna do both of y'all, right? Your drive. You're always there at every event, everything, and you don't just show up just to be there. You're there being supportive, offering something to the space, and you're like a research nerd. You like know so. I've never seen anybody know as many facts about everything how you do. If we ever going somewhere, you're at home researching the space that we're going at, the history of the town. I wish I had that, and I wish I could retain the information, because you actually research it and retain it enough to like intelligently spit it back out to me. And I can research it after you tell me and find it. So that's cool. And Kelly,
Wait, you checked to make sure I wasn't making it up?
this motherfucker can't know all of this now. Ain't no fucking way. He's always right. He always knows. And Kelly is just how organized you are, how you really get the job done, how you always like 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. That shit, I wish I had that. If I had that, I would be fucking next level. That's what I'm missing. Like those two things, if I had it, I know I'd be through the roof. You're one of the most organized, precise people that I know. You're always on point. And then it's like, it's not like you have like a regular life, you know what I'm saying? With like all this, like your life outside of work is like easy as fuck, or you don't have any trauma. So to show up to the space with a lived experience, with a not so perfect life, and still be able to be that person consistently. And when I first saw you at that circle we was at, it was a lot of people in the room. You were the only one that stood out to me. And then say like, damn, I know this person's great. And it's actually see you be that great person consistently, fire. If I had that thing that you have, be 2 weeks ahead of the day. You see what I'm saying? Like fire.
Thanks so much for saying that.
And then I'm gonna do Kevin too. For Kevin, right, his speaking ability, like being at a speaking event with Kevin, he go hard. His personality, he can make any room laugh.
So true.
And just to show up, and like how you say, you got that fuck it in him where he don't care. It shows. You see what I'm saying? He's never nervous. No matter the crowd's young, old, he can speak to the people, get them laughing, and really like command the room. And I wish I have it to a certain degree, but he can do it in any room. It can be all black people, it can be Chinese people, it can be whatever, police. And Kevin's going to be Kevin. He's going to do that thing that Kevin does to everybody.
Yeah, that's so true.
I can't wait for an all Chinese audience.
I know, that's going to be amazing to watch.
It's coming.
That's the next
It's
frontier.
coming. Yeah, it's coming.
I agree, and I want to go next. I'm going to say pretty much ditto to everything Julia said about Kevin. And then also, we talked about this earlier in the episode, but like his zen and peace. You're just not like easily disturbed or enraged. And if you do feel those feelings, they don't take over your day. And for me, if I'm like enraged enough, or if someone's wronged me or someone, you know what I mean? Like I can't stay zen about it. And maybe like, I don't know what's in your head, but how you present is that way. And I want a little more of that. And I think I can get it if I grow into it. And then Julius, I love how you often are like motivated. You are like motivated, and it's usually almost always from the outside looking in, from something deep and meaningful, where like sometimes I'm at work and it is like organized and task and like get the job done, and I'm not always on a day-to-day in touch with like the deeper meaning, just because I get in routine, you know, not because it's not meaningful to me, but like I get in routine and I'm in a schedule, and there's like, even after work, I got all these other things to do to pick up kids and stuff. But like when you speak, we'll be like in staff meeting and all of a sudden we're talking about like a revolution and like what it, you know what I mean? And it's like your motivation is always deep, and I wish I had a little bit more of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I wish I had Kevin. If I could grab qualities from each one of you, Kevin's ability to tap into his emotions so easily and cry. You know, I still feel I cry. For sure. I cried on my way to work actually today. But it's hard for me to cry because I feel like crying is the next step to the world's going to fall apart. You know, I still have some fear around sadness. And so Kevin's ability to tap into that. Julius's ability to cut through the bullshit and say the real thing, even if it's going to like offend somebody or upset someone in the room. I am still a people pleaser, and I'm like really diplomatic, and that's hard when you're trying to make change or be an activist. It's good to have diplomacy and it's good to get all sides to work together, but sometimes you gotta fucking piss some people off, and Julius does not care about that. Like, he's gonna be honest, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kelly, your ability to like make everyone in the room feel like they're super important. I really appreciate that about you.
Thanks.
So
Mine's going to be for me. I just think I'm fucking great.
that's right. And that's a wrap. It's been a good show. I appreciate y'all.
No, I do have a quick. Really, the thing that I thought of Julius's relentless authenticity first, because I have been in meetings with him with other people where like Julius does say the thing that like needs to be said, but everybody's kind of like dancing around the thing, and he's just like, in 5 words, here's exactly what you all need to hear, without any like I don't know. He's just relentlessly himself, which I love. The thing that I thought of for everybody is just insane perseverance. I've known everybody here for several years now, and have seen kind of where folks were on the first day that I met you, and then kind of where things are now. And everyone here has like a ridiculous amount of like fortitude and devotion to making their lives and the lives of other people better, and just seeing where people were that day compared to where they are now is like unreal. Like, many people would have crumbled, and the people around this table have not, in a way that is like really inspiring and beautiful. And we've all chosen to go to war against a thing that is well resourced, has a lot of momentum, and can feel like a real losing battle. But everybody here just keeps like, it's like the drops of water on the rock. Like, it does like erode that rock, and everyone here just keeps showing up. Everyone here is badass even when things feel hard or difficult. Everyone here just continues to persevere, which I think is amazing.
I love all of you.
We'll end with
It's a great
wasabi
episode.
peas, everyone. Wasabi peas for everyone.
Yeah, I take that.
Like,
'Cause they're
follow,
good.
share, at Uncarcerated. There's a link. Follow us everywhere. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I wouldn't listen, never thought I'd get caught and wind up in prison. Chalk it up to youth, but young age I ain't dissing. I guess I just had to get it out of my system, out of my system, out of my system.